Thanks for joining us. No one is hurt after a house fire overnight in the town of Washington. As the Wisconsin Supreme Court prepares to hear a lawsuit regarding the drug ivermectin, one medical group is weighing in. One man is dead after an officer-involved shooting in Menominee last night. In the background, you can see investigators are still working tonight. Today, they dedicated a new memorial, which is just behind me. It's about 19 feet tall. It features all of the victims' names. Now I want to take a look at some video we received earlier today from UW Eau Claire's campus showing students waiting in line. I'm here in Eau Claire across from Claremont Avenue, where you can see the snow is already falling. Since 5 o'clock, we've had trick-or-treaters stopping by, coming up to this beautiful little cauldron, getting their candy, and then exploring all of this display. Part of the process of taking a coffee bean and turning it into your daily cup of joe is roasting it. A bean that looks like this turns into this.
We started roasting about 3-4 years ago just to kind of get a feel for it and see what we thought of it.
Becca Simpson from Eau Claire has a passion for coffee and hopes to one day open her own coffee shop. Her first step, learning how to roast. After buying the equipment to get started, Simpson found out it wasn't legal to sell her finished product.
It was kind of disheartening because we had already bought the roaster, not really realizing that we weren't allowed to do it. A lot of other states can do it or could do it.
With a full-time job and raising 2 kids, Simpson says she didn't have the time to make the investment into a full-scale business worth it. By roasting at home, her goal was to start small and grow according to her schedule.
With this, we'll be able to, fit it in. We can do late nights here at home. We can do weekends by ourselves. We're not constrained to a certain time period, and we don't have to, put out a bunch of money to set up a full facility of some sort.
Thanks to a ruling late last month, Simpson now can share her roasted coffee beans with the community. The change comes after one group has been working for a decade to make foods made at home legal to sell in the Badger State.
Our thought was cookies aren't hazardous. They're baked. They use ingredients that are shelf stable once they're baked at 350 for 15 minutes. And so this was all about selling face-to-face things that we knew were not dangerous once they were baked.
Chris Marion from Lafayette County is one of the plaintiffs in the first ruling in 2017 that made it possible to sell goods like cookies. She was also part of the latest legal challenge, which added things like roasted coffee beans to the list. Marion says growing Wisconsin's cottage industry is good for the local economy.
That was kind of the origin of this, trying to create more robust farm market offerings and also help small farmers and medium-scale farmers with their bottom line.
While she's not a farmer, for Simpson, this ruling means she can share her passion for coffee with more people. Jana, Sarah, Haley, and Autumn, the names of those killed on November 3rd, 2018, stand high in the sky on a new memorial near County Highway P in Lake Hallie.
We wanted something that, had the girls up front and foremost, and then something about the Girl Scouts, something about the date. And this just kind of all came together just like this.
Brian Kelly's daughter, Jana, was one of the members of Girl Scout Troop 3055 doing a highway cleanup project when a vehicle went off the road. On the eve of the 4-year anniversary of that fatal crash, family members, friends, and community members came together to dedicate this tribute.
3 years ago, we started talking about this concept. We didn't have any idea really how to do it. We were talking about making it out of wood or something that we could build ourselves only.
By chance, Kelly met Bill Huber. He's the industry supervisor of the Bureau of Correctional Enterprises at the prison in Stanley and could create the large display.
Brian had initially texted me a sketch that one of the family members had drawn up and asked if it was something that we could manufacture for them. So I had called him immediately to let him know that, yes, we definitely want to be part of this.
Huber says the memorial stands nearly 20 feet high and weighs around 1,500 pounds. After weeks of cutting, welding, and painting, Huber says he's proud of the final product.
When it was first put together and to see the size of it after it was all put together, it was amazing. And then when when the family came and looked at it, the emotions were overwhelming.
The work needed to put the tribute in place in Chippewa County started last week. Kelly says seeing it along the highway is healing.
I used to drive by here and it was hard to even look over here, more or less stop. And just being out here this last week, being around this area so much, and I feel a little bit reconnected to her, and just being able to drive by here, I think I'm gonna think of her every time in a good way.
He says it's helping him remember his daughter's happiness doing what she wanted to be doing on that day 4 years ago. For the 4th year in a row, traffic deaths in Wisconsin are going up. In 2019, that number was 551. A year later, 593. 595 people died in 2021, and so far this year.
Unfortunately, today we hit that mark, if you will, of 400 traffic deaths in Wisconsin. So not a really great occasion, and it happened about a week earlier than it did last year.
PAP says while summer tends to be the deadliest season on roadways, that wasn't necessarily the case this year.
August, believe it or not, was one of the safest Augusts on record since World War II, right up there at #1 and potentially #2, depending on how the data finally comes in.
PAP says the overall trend in traffic crashes comes from dangerous driving behaviors like impairment, speeding, and being distracted. Another problem, PAP says fewer people are buckling up.
It's kind of a bad mix. We have people driving at too fast a speed and not wearing their seatbelt, so when they do crash, they get hurt really badly or kill themselves.
As this year's traffic deaths are on track to surpass 2021, those who prepare the next generation of drivers have a simple message.
Slow down, pay attention. Those are the two biggest things.
For parents with teen drivers, Ryan Hammett with Accountable Driver Education also recommends you pay attention to who your child is riding with and how they drive with friends in the car. Another tip for teens:
Don't expect everyone else to be good drivers. A lot of times we just expect other people to stop at the stop sign when they're supposed to, or stop at the red light, but it's really important as you're driving to pay attention to what other drivers might be doing.
He says that way you are more prepared to react and hopefully stay safe.